It's a bit of a mess in here, as usual, and I don't have much of a voice. I had influenza A about 3 weeks ago, and I have not gotten my voice back. However, I'm starting to finally make progress, consistent progress, not as much as I would like. Motivation is still difficult. However, the situation that I've been living in for the last 3 to 4 years, which has kept me from being able to really make plans, make progress, dig into a project or anything, has become somewhat different. I don't want to get into details because it involves other people. But I am now have much more control over my time, if not my emotions. Much more control over my diet, my sleeping patterns, and trying to adjust to the new normal again and relearning how to live. This building still has a lot of work to do. I have, if you've seen some of the videos, I have upgraded the solar. As long as the sun is high enough that it's not getting shaded by the trees and the building, I have more power than currently I need. I'm not even sure what I'm capable of producing yet, because especially in the last 2 to 3 weeks, my rather substantial battery system is full by about 1 o'clock. And the most that I have seen, I think, has been 10 to 12 kilowatt hours. So it's a 3 kilowatt array. So spring, summer, fall, as long as the sun's high enough, as it stands, I should be doing pretty darn good, even when I'm down here a lot more often and using more power, which I will do, because if there's power left on the table, then instead of using propane, I should be using electricity. The ERV runs 24/7. I have had the mini split on 24/7. Of course, the Starlink, several 12-volt systems. So things are doing good on the power front. I am continuing on the solar. I'm starting my next battery, which will be another 300 amp hours. I have grounded the solar array. I am waiting on a couple of midnight solar surge protection devices, which will go on top of this box. This box will go out underneath the solar panels and will be the cutoff and protection device outside. So it's already got a circuit breaker built in, but I'm adding midnight solar surge protections, and this is for 2 strings, holding out 1 string. So I'm future proofing for the next string, which I hope before winter I'll be able to build another lean-to shed structure just behind those solar panels that will allow me to put another string of solar panels up higher, which will catch more of the winter sun for that, and a few other little bits and bobs, just to try to make sure that even in the dead of winter I have plenty of power. So I'm trying to finalize and tidy up the solar system before I go to the next project. I'm also still running on the 3000 watt inverter. Don't even have the 2 big Victrons in service. Once I finish this battery and tidying up the protection on at least the current solar panel array, I may go ahead and put the Victrons in service, disconnect the 3000, and see how that does. What I'm curious about on that, so far, I mean, I haven't ran out of power by any stretch, but the EG4 is an all-in-one. It is the MPPT for the current solar array and doing a great job on that. If I turn that off, I'll move that up to the Victron, but it pulls about, I don't know, 60 to 80 watts with just that 3,000 watt inverter on. It draws that much even if it's not supplying a load. The two Victrons will draw about 100 watts each. So that's almost 3 times as much power just to have the Victrons on, not supplying any more power. Right now I don't need it, but eventually I may need it when I outstrip the 3,000. Now, I could get another 3,000 in parallel. That would do good. But again, the goal is to run the whole property off this one system. So eventually when I build a cabin, I'll run power underground to the cabin, and it will run off of this as well. So the goal is, at least on this half of the property, anything needing power will run off of this system. I have contemplated at some point getting a 10-foot shipping container, one of the little bitty ones, and putting it maybe someplace more central, and moving all the solar equipment into that, so it'd be more central to everything, and God forbid it ever caught fire or something of that nature, it wouldn't necessarily put this structure at risk either. And all the radiation that comes off of it, all this, the radio waves and stuff. Victron's kind of noisy as far as radio waves. It makes getting on the ham radio a little bit difficult. I think there's a little extra. And if that were in a separate building with some distance, especially a metal building, that might help on that a little bit. But yeah, I'm starting to make some progress. I'm not doing a lot of gardening this year, probably because these other infrastructure projects need to be done first. I don't want to plant a big garden that I can't maintain, or I feel like I need to maintain and continue putting infrastructure off. Rainwater is going to be one of the next things. I've got to figure out whether I want my ramp, my handicap ramp, to be the next project, or my rainwater. Probably rainwater because it's water. And I think I've decided on a general plan on how to do that. It's a little more complicated than just putting a tank out there in gutters, because I mean, we've got, you got to have some kind of a pump system. And we do freeze here. We seem to be freezing more often and deeper in the winter. So I want to design this to be as much water as possible, within reason, but all of it in one system that will keep it protected from the weather, protected from UV, be able to work on it no matter what the weather is, because usually if something breaks, it's going to be during the worst possible weather, and I don't want to be outside in the rain, in the snow, below zero, trying to work on a pump or something like that. And if I do this right, I won't have to worry about that because it won't freeze and it won't bust. But that'll be a bit of an involved project as well. I'm supposed to be restarting another PDC, Jeff Lawton's, currently slated for the end of April. Hopefully I'll be able to finish it this time with the project and actually get the piece of paper. I mean, it's already paid for, so it'd be nice to go ahead and get that done. I've been thinking about, been wanting for the last 2 or 3 years to do some classes here on solar systems and stuff. And I think at the moment, with my current, where I'm at emotionally and mentally and other things, I need to focus more on doing than on trying to teach. I shouldn't try to teach anything that I haven't actually done more than once, made mistakes and been successful at. Not just been successful, but made the mistakes and been successful at. So while I'm not going to say I'm not going to do any classes, mushroom logs or something like that I have at least done, but that'll be next fall, I'm probably not going to commit myself to trying to do any kind of formal classes on anything until I'm much more stable here and actually got some projects completed and successful under my belt. I don't know, I do a lot of videos, and I'm trying not to show too much because this is a private life, but for those who may be interested, at least an update. Got a bunch of trash here, fixing to shut down. head back to another property, and I got some mail package that's supposed to come tomorrow that I got to be there to sign for, and I got plenty of work over there. 3 years of not being able to do much of anything. I've got like 15 small engines that have not been ran in about 3 years that have bad gas and stuff in them. So on top of everything else, I may be rebuilding small engine carburetors for the next 2 months. We'll see what happens.